Good morning, fellows. Welcome to a new session. Morning, Gonzalo. Good morning, Krishna. Good morning, Renata, Caroline, Paula, Valentina, and Nicole. In a previous session, we were discussing about, in this case, unit number 3. We were, in this case, checking out some stuff about illness, sickness, diseases, some vocabulary related to health issues, and we need to talk a little bit about the calendar so that we can have in this case a look about the rest of the semester. All right. Saludando en el chat. Good, excellent. Yeah, let me show you now the calendar. As you can see here, we are in this week, which is here from the 7th to the 11th of June. We got the submission of the second assessment of for and against essay in this case. If you got any questions, any comments, just let me know. The idea should be, in this case, to add me and Ivana in a Google Doc, right? And you got until tomorrow to do it. But if you need an extension, I can give you until Sunday 13th midnight. That's the extension that I can give you if you want to use it. Okay. What else? And also we started unit 3, as I told you, health and lifestyles. We've been discussing about illness, disease, and injuries. And today we should be dealing with the grammar contents, which is the past perfect. And if we got time, past perfect continuous. Why? Because next week is the recess week. Next week is the recess week. And in this case, I'm gonna be uploading, asynchronous exercises and material videos and stuff like that to complement in this case, the material that we got already on UCampus. So the idea is to, if you got time next week, to exercise from those links. Like after the recess week, we should continue dealing with more grammar and more, in this case, lexical contents like treatment and alternative medicine, and also past perfect continuous. Creo que ya lo dije. Used to, be used to, and get used to. No está el get used to, debería ponerlo aquí. Get used to. Right, and then on the 28th, there's a holiday, so that's a long weekend. Actually, I think it's 26, 27, 28, right here, yeah, 26th, 27th, and 28th. In this case, that's a long weekend. And then we are back on the 29th. We got this week until the first week of July. Que Julio empieza el jueves, digamos, Thursday, July the 1st. And that week, ¿cierto? Deberíamos continuar viendo contents. Después en julio, from the 5th to the 9th, tenemos que terminar ya de estudiar todos los contenidos en este caso de Unit 3, with treatment and alternative medicine and must for deduction. Because de nuevo se viene la recess week del 12 al 15 de julio. Y ahí voy a estar subiendo los últimos, en este caso serían repasos. Ya, son repasos. Ya. Para la recess week voy a estar ahí uploading. ¿Por qué? Porque de vuelta de la recess week, que sería el 19 de julio, esa semana se acaban los repasos y debiéramos tener nuestro grammar test, que lo más probable es que yo la suba así como por el por el 20th, yo creo, 21st, y les daría, digamos, un tiempo determinado para hacer la prueba de Applied Grammar Test, que entrarían los contenidos léxicos y los gramaticales de todo el semestre. ¿Ya? Unit 1, 2, and 3. And voy a ir, obviamente, seleccionando cosas, que lo voy a meter todo, son cosas puntuales de cada unidad en lo léxico y en lo gramatical. Y van a estar contextualizadas, digamos, en la prueba. Ahora, ¿cómo funciona esa prueba online? Acá, ¿cierto? Si ustedes se fijan en Campus, tenemos esta herramienta que es Tests. ¿Ok? Entonces yo voy a subir para esa fecha un test. Obviamente no está agregado acá, pero esto consiste en, son como tres tipos de ítems, ¿no? Esto como long answer, short answer, and in this case, una que es de select the right alternative. ¿Ya? Son de alternativa más de desarrollo y sería, ¿ya? What else regarding the end of the semester? Después vendrían ya las resit o las pruebas recuperativas de 26th to the 30th of July, and that's it. Se acaba el semestre, o sea, nos queda poco más de un mes y medio, right? Any questions, any comments about the calendar, about the chronogram for the rest of the semester? Is it clear? Good. Time flies. So let's say to have a wise use of our limited resource, which is time. So honoring that same phrase, we're gonna, in this case, deal with the following grammar content. In the previous class, we were discussing about health and health problems, as I told you. But today we need to study a little bit of grammar. Anyway, I uploaded a couple of, in this case, contents on UCampus. Right here, we got health problems exercises right here. There are a lot of links inside this one so that you can practice with the vocabulary. And I already uploaded conversational video in this case with the the contents in this case in the contents in context. And also I already uploaded 3 different presentations for you to check out. And past perfect simple in this case is what we have to study today. Basically, the past perfect simple is used to, for example, describe actions finished before another past action. So it's the past which is before the simple past. Also, it is used to, for example, describe actions which happened in this case before. Creo que es casi lo mismo que lo anterior. Sí, básicamente before a specific time in the past. The same stuff. Also, it is used to describe actions started in the past and continued up to a given time in the past. So maybe, yeah, one finished action in the past, but also it is used to describe a process. Maybe the point in which something started in the past and then up to another point in the past, right? But always talking about past times. To describe also cause and effect in the past and emphasize the result of an activity in the past. Examples: Richard had gone out when his wife arrived in the office. So, for example, we got that Richard went out or did something before his wife arrived. So we got two actions, the one that Richard did, and also the one that his wife did. Okay, so we got in this case had gone, which is the past perfect tense, and arrived, which is the simple past tense. And normally you combine the past perfect with the simple past to describe sequences, right? Also, Christine had never been to an opera before last night. In this case, we are describing, for example, a situation or an action, which is kind of specific, right? But it's an action that happened before another situation, another event. Like she had never been to an opera before last night. So we're taking on a specific event, which is going to an opera, but that happened or never happened before a specific moment described with the, for example, simple past. Last night is very specific. Last night is yesterday, but when we use the past perfect, we are describing an action that maybe can be anytime, any point in the past before last night. So we got 2 points, last night and a point in an indefinite point in the past, right? I know it's kind of confusing sometimes, but if we check out the examples and if we do exercises, I think we can understand it better, because this is like too abstract. For the next use, example, we had owned that car for 10 years before it broke down. So again, we got 2 points in the past. The event when it broke down, and all the years before that event, okay? 10 years, actually. So we describe, in this case, a period of time, which is 10 years. We had owned that car for 10 years. And then the other breaking point, which is when it broke down, okay? So a timeline and then a point in the past. What else? Cause and effect in this case. I got stuck in traffic because, and that's of course in this case the linker that we need to use to in this case join these two events, right? There had been an accident, all right? So I got stuck in the in traffic because there had been an accident. So the cause is the accident and the effect is the traffic jam. And finally, I had been to London twice by the time I got a job in New York. So in this case, we emphasize the result of an activity. So we got two events also in this case. One event is, for example, getting the job in New York in the past. Let's say, I don't know, year 2012. Year 2012, I got a job in New York. But before that year and before getting the job, I had been to London twice. It's like, well, we need more context maybe, but it's like saying that maybe, yeah, I've been to London because I'm a cool guy. I don't know, something stupid. But yeah, if you want to brag or if you want to show off that you've been to London twice, it's like, yeah, I've been to London twice before I got a job in New York. It's like, yeah, it works. And plus, in this case, the typical time expressions used for the past perfect. Already, yet, for, since, just, after, before, until, the moment that. All of those time expressions can be used in context together with the past perfect. and of course the past continue. I'm sorry, that the simple past, because normally there's this a very close combination between the simple past and the past perfect, right? I'm gonna be reading the chat. Paula, been is finished, and gone would be like if I was still there. It always confuses me. All right, been and gone. Gone is like, for example, he's gone, she's gone, means that ya se fue. Also, you can use it, for example, when somebody dies or when somebody has passed away. You can say, like, just leave it, he's gone or she's gone. You know, ya se fue. And you never know if the person is going to come back. That's the point, right? But been in this case is like, yeah, I've been, for example, in the States once, or I've been to Europe once, and I can come back someday. You know, si ya estaba allá, y maybe I'm gonna be back someday, right? But gone is like desapareció, ¿te fijas? O cuando uno dice, no, she's gone, you know, like, I don't know what time. That makes sense. Yeah, you're welcome, Paula. You're welcome. Right? So, por eso que in the first example, Richard had gone out when his wife arrived in the office. Como el Richard ya se había ido, ya había salido. Ya había salido y bueno, no sé a qué hora se fue y tampoco sé a qué hora volver. I have no idea. But Richard had been is different, porque él ya ha estado en ese lugar y puede que esté más veces. You know? It's different, you know. What else? Claro, en el caso de estar y el de otro es salir. What else? So let's do some exercises. We should do some, in this case, practical, in this case, drilling in this situation. But before that, just as a reminder, you can see that the formula here is the auxiliary verb had in this case, which is hadn't in the negative, plus the past participle of the verbs, and then you got the three forms. You know, she had finished, she hadn't finished, had she finished. You know, in the interrogative form in this case, right? If you got questions about the structure, just let me know. But I'm pretty sure that you already know this stuff. Okay, so let's practice. We're going to do some exercises, so you can use the microphone or you can use the chat room to answer. Here we go. Okay, easy stuff in this case. Conjugation of the verb marry in this case. He, blah, 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 her 2 years before we met. So question, what's the right conjugation in the past perfect of the verb marry in this case? I'll be reading you or listening to you. Any ideas? Past perfect for marry in this case? Fran Andrea says had been. More ideas? More comments? Had been married. All right. Thank you, Fran. Paula had married. Thank you, Paula. Any other idea? Remember, had, which is the auxiliary in this case, plus this verb, marry, or the verbs in brackets, and the, in this case, past participle conjugation. Do you guys agree with Fran Andrea or with Paula? Any other ideas? Paula is right, says Fran. Thank you, Fran. Do you guys agree with your with their comrades? El silencio otorga, dice. Ah, Mateo dice yes. Okay, so let's type here. He had married her 2 years before we met. Okay, we're gonna check at the end. Number 2, I, in this case, want, this say always. We need to conjugate this with using the past perfect, of course. To travel. That's why I was delighted to go abroad with them. So my question is, how should we conjugate in this case want in the past perfect? And then we need to use always in some point in the sentence, right? Any ideas? You can type your idea in the chat room if you don't want to speak. Fran, Andrea, always wanted. All right, thank you. Monse, I have always wanted. Thank you, Monse. Very well. You guys agree with your classmates in this case? I assume that maybe you agree if you don't say anything, so let's do this. I had always wanted to travel. Blah, blah, blah. Very well. Number 3, she was no stranger to him. They, blah, 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 to each other a few days before. So in this case, we need to use be introduced, which is a compound, in this case, verb, and we need to conjugate it in the past perfect. Teacher could be has married. No, my dear friend Mateo. Montserrat had introduced, okay? Thank you, Montse. They had introduced to each other a few days ago. All right, Fran Andrea had been introduced. Okay, interesting. Paula says yes. I assume yes to have been introduced. Had been, yeah. All right. Okay. If you guys agree, I'm going to type had been introduced. Yeah, because we need to conjugate in this case, the first verb, which is not conjugated, because introduced is already, using a past perfect form, but be hasn't, in this case, been conjugated. So we need to produce the inflection in the verb be and change it into been. So they had been is in this case, the logical transformation. They had been introduced to each other a few days before. Okie dokie. Daniela has been introduced, yes. All right. Now, remember, present perfect, in this case, takes has and have. That's the present perfect. But the past perfect is only with had. Past perfect is had. No more. No more. No, we don't use any other auxiliary verb plus the past, this case, participle. Had, past participle. Hadn't, past participle. That's it. And the interrogative, which is had the subject plus past participle. Okay. Right. Let's continue. 4. We, and then had plus. No se preocupe, Monse. Tranquila, ¿no? Yeah. We plus has, which is the auxiliary verb, plus stay in the past participle, and then the rest of the sentence. Okay. So number 4, what is the conjugation, the right conjugation for number 4? Number 4. Are you sleeping, guys? All right. Monse says had been staying. Okay, thank you. Thank you, Monse. Any other idea? Maybe Paula has an idea. Maybe had stayed says, okay, correction of Monse in this case. Had stayed, Paula says yes. Anybody else? Maybe Daniela has an opinion, or Fran. Maybe Mateo or Gonzalo. You got Valentina. You have more ideas. Fran Andrea says, I don't know. That's okay, Fran, no problem. Okay, so Paula says yes to had stayed. Está difícil esa, dice Monse. Right? Had stayed. We had stayed there since 1980, you know. Okay, we're gonna keep it like that. And we'll check at the end. Daniela says it's had stayed. Yes. Okie dokie. Very good. So we got 3 different three people agreeing with that one. Number 5. I stayed never in London before. How expensive hotels are. In this case, it's like maybe if we use the L1, like a mother tongue Spanish, to use some contrastive grammar, maybe it could be like more, in this case, understandable. Yo nunca me había quedado en un hotel en Londres antes, o nunca me había quedado en Londres antes. Esa es la idea. Yo nunca me había quedado en Londres antes. How expensive hotels are. Muy caro los hoteles. The idea is that one, cierto, no, nunca me había quedado en Londres. O nunca me había alojado en Londres. Londres, you know. Any aquí lo único que se le agrega el never. Ya está hecho ya por el 4. Monse, I never had stayed. Thank you, Monse. Thanks a lot. Hasta por ahí va, Monse. It's okay, it's okay. Any other, do you guys agree with Monse? Is she right? Dice la Pola, dice, those frequency adverbs are tricky sometimes. Yeah, I know. Yeah, well, the secret in this case, or the tip with frequency adverbs, they normally or generally go in the middle of the verbs. So you have an auxiliary verb, then you have a frequency adverb, and then you have the main verb. So always put them in the middle, right? And but when you see in this case the verb to be, the verb to be is, you know, kind of special. You put the frequency adverbs after, después, after the verb to be. That's a rule. So, you know, frequency adverbs always, you know, after the verb to be, and they go in the middle of auxiliary verbs and main verbs. If you memorize that rule, you will never have any problem about that. So, Fran Andrea had never stayed. Right? Complying with the rule in this case, cumpliendo con la regla que dije recién. Monse dice, I had never stayed. Daniela dice, I had never stayed. Very good. So we got an agreement, I guess. So I had never stayed in London before. Thank you very much, ladies. Number 6. Did I tell you that when I saw you, I realized that we... Ah, se corta. Qué mentiroso. Nunca crean eso, chicos, chicas. Did I tell you that when I saw you, I realized that we... Blah, blah, blah. Como, qué mentira, man. Anyway, the cheesy line, of course, is like, come on. It's like, you gotta tell that guy that he needs to watch more movies or more serious, like, but not so cheesy, you know, like, anyway, cliche, you know, so cliche. So I realized that we and Monse says had meet already. All right, thank you, Monse. El tío que dice soñó contigo. Oye, soñé contigo el otro día. Ay, ay, ay. Qué bueno que están tan vacunadas aquí parece en esta clase, qué bueno. Les felicito, chiques, que estén vacunadas contra ese tipo de tretas. All right, and so had meet already, said Monse. Do you guys agree with Monse when she said had meet already? I realized that we and then we need to use the auxiliary verb had, of course, then frequency adverb, and then past participle of meet. Right? Paula says met. Okay. So what is the full structure then? What is the full sentence? I realized that we remember we had met already, Montserrat. Okay. And in this case, the adverb, not the frequency adverb, the adverb in this case, because already is an adverb too, but not a frequency adverb, but it's an adverb. Epola, had plus already plus met. Exactly. Very good job. Monse was, she was the first in having the hypothesis in this case, so really good job, Monse, too. No teman equivocarse, chiques. Si se equivocan, no importa. Usted, el formar hipótesis sobre la estructura de una oración está bien. It's part of the learning process. Es parte del aprendizaje. No le crean a eso del castigo, digamos, del sistema, ya, porque uno siempre se castiga a sí mismo. Entonces, don't do that, please. Don't way. No me complica equivocarme. Okay, very good. That's the attitude, Monse. I like it. That's the attitude. It's okay. It's okay. It's normal to be confused. Grande reina, dice la Daniela. Así no, así, that's the attitude. So, I realized that we have already met in this case. And also, be careful with this one. This is a tricky, very tricky, in this case, clause, una cláusula muy, ¿por qué? Porque partimos con un did I tell you that when I saw you, es una compleja, ¿cierto? So, la pregunta la está marcando el did I tell you, el did, de hecho. So all the rest of the sentence should be in affirmative. Todo lo que viene después está en estructura afirmativa. Entonces, si ustedes me dicen, we had already met, is perfect. ¿Por qué? Porque uno se podría confundir. Ah, pero esto es pregunta, entonces tenemos que poner had we already met, pero no es had we, es we had. Porque la pregunta la marcó el did I tell you. Ahí empieza la pregunta, pero termina como una afirmación. Fíjate como como indirect speech, ¿ya? Okay, number 7. Cuando lo hablan más fácil. Of course, yes, yes. Spoken English sometimes is for some people, not for everybody, is easier. Number 7. James told me you, with the verb by, the old vicarage 2 years before your son's birth. Monse says had bought. Interesting. Thank you, Monse. Any other opinion? James told me you had bought, according to Monse, the old vicarage 2 years before your son's birth. You know what a vicarage is? I'm going to show you a picture, actually. I'm going to show you a picture of a vicarage. No, vicarage road, no. It's just a vicarage. It's actually a construction. It's like a big. It's like a big house, like sometimes even like a mansion but in the countryside. It's not a city building. It's a big mansion in the countryside. I mean, not for poor people like me, you know. It's normally what, I don't know, what a count or or maybe a part of the royalty or a noble family would have in Europe, in England, you know. Como la casa de Anne with an E, exactly, you know. Well, la de los Piggy Blinders. But actually, the Piggy Blinders used to buy this stuff, you know, which were really expensive. And but yeah, it's an old England, old UK. Exactly. So let's coming back to the reality. So James told me you had bought. Yeah, dan miedo esa casa. Yeah, but maybe there's a ghost inside, you know, like I don't know, like a phantom. Right. And the last one, number 8. I wish we it before. I wish we before. La 8 está regalada. Like, yeah, pretty much the same stuff. I wish we had bought it before. Check my test. Que demuestra que hay una mala o dos. I knew it. Yeah, this one. We had stayed there since 1920. You know, we had been staying there since 1980. You know, we had been staying there since 1980. But this is kind of strange because esto no era parte del ejercicio. En ninguna parte decía choose between past perfect and past perfect continuous. I don't agree. I don't agree with this page. Anyway, yo sabía que te iba a cobrar algo malo porque siempre te tiran una que es estúpidamente no tiene nada que ver con lo que uno está haciendo. Pero anyway, I reaffirm that we had stayed there, right? There you go. What time is it? 11:15. Right on time. Right on time. So any guys, any final regards, any final comments or questions about past perfect? I mean, we had been staying is okay. I'm not saying it's wrong, but it's not part of this of the exercise. It's not part of the logic. In this case, the logics of the exercise. Como si yo hubiera hecho el ejercicio así, daría, ¿por qué lo hago? O sea, es un tricky question, ¿no? Como un cazabo. Anyway, but se puede decir we had stayed or we had been staying depending on the context. si es que estoy hablando del proceso de quedarse o si estoy diciendo que se cumple una etapa, ¿cierto? Nos habíamos quedado ahí del 80 hasta el 81, por ejemplo. It's okay. Okie dokie. If there are no more comments, guys, next week is recess week. Again, have fun dentro de las cuarentenas, if possible. Have a great weekend. Have a nice week. Try to rest. A mimir, dice la Monse, of course, you know. Try to rest your minds, your hearts, your bodies. And if you can check out one day the UCampus next week, I'm going to be uploading some exercises for the autonomous work. And see you in 2 more weeks. Bye-bye. Have a good one.
Chao, profe.
Sayonara des. Take care. Chabela, chalupa.